agenda, but within the jurisdiction of the board. No action shall be taken on any matter not appearing on the agenda. Josie, are there any public comment cards submitted?
None at this time.
Thank you, Josie. Item number 4, consent calendar. Does anybody on the board wish to pull an item from the consent calendar? Seeing none, can we get a motion and a second?
Move the consent.
Second.
Thank you. Let's see. Then all in favor say aye. All opposed say no. Any abstentions? Seeing none. Moving on to item number 5, illustrative and regulatory updates. State and federal legislative update. Are Anna and Lowry with us tonight? Looks like Anna and Lowry, the dream team. Thanks, guys. Go ahead.
Thanks, Dr. Kordusky. It is great to be with you all this evening. Want to first start out by just sharing we had a really great week last week, I guess is the best way to put it. Feels like it was a longer time ago, but it was only last week. And we had the JPA, members of the JPA out for the Aqua Conference in Washington, D.C. And during that time as well, we took the time while the members of the JPA were in Washington, D.C. to conduct meetings to advance the JPA priorities that you all have, including pure water. So last week, the JPA was able to meet with most members of your congressional delegation, given schedules, including some member meetings with Congresswoman Brownlee, for instance, and Congressman Sherman. And members of the JPA also participated in a roundtable hosted by Senator Schiff, in which they got to share priorities directly of the JPA as well with Senator Schiff, excuse me. The JPA also met with Senator Padilla's staff, as well as having its own meeting with Senator Schiff's staff, aside from the roundtable as well. And also took the time to meet with the senior policy advisor for Speaker Mike Johnson, as well as the House Natural Resources Committee or Subcommittee on Water, Wildlife, and Fisheries Chairwoman Harriet Hagman from Wyoming, who is currently serving in the role as chair for that committee. The real significance of the trip was to, again, as I mentioned, really talk about pure water, but also talk about how the partnership with the federal government is really critical for the Pure Water Project and to ensure the districts have the ability to have redundancy in the water system, not just have the State Water Project. A lot of the messages were really well received, and we were able to talk about, some tough issues that do relate to how much energy it does cost for the water to come in and why this project is so critical. Talking about the need of being in this having no groundwater that we can utilize, and the critical nature of advancing the Pure Water Project. So we were really grateful for the meetings that we all had last week. We do have a number of follow-up points that we will be undertaking for those here in the coming weeks as well. And we are also continuing to work on the water conservation tax parity issue, which Mr. Huffman is going to actually be introducing on a bipartisan basis this week. We'll be working with staff to work on a quote for support there. That was one of the matters we did directly advocate on last week. And also continuing to work on matters regarding PFAS, as well as natural disaster response and resilience. That's a quick recap of last week. Before I go into where things currently stand and whatnot, I just want to see, Lowry, do you have anything to add to last week's review? Okay. So given all that, it was a microcosm of a week, if you would say, where things happened really fast. And we are a little over 1 month into the new administration. President Trump will be giving his State of the Union, his joint address to Congress tomorrow evening. And in that, we expect the president to continue to advocate of his own accord in that State of the Union address many of the things in which he has undertaken in this first month, which a lot entails a detailed review of the federal government, the different offices and staffing. The pieces that pertain to the JPA, though, that we have seen from the president, that we are continuing to review and see how things are maneuvering and making sure people understand the impacts of them as well, has it as it relates to the federal funding. The JPA does have grants from the Bureau of Reclamation and as well as working with the EPA WIFIA office and wanting to make sure that those programs maintain as well as can continue to be utilized. And the message was very well received last week, understanding the critical nature of those infrastructure programs and wanting to make sure we continue to have the support to do so in now and in the future. We are going to continue to see a lot of different actions from the president that may distract from the nature of the business in which we're conducting. However, the good news is the president